This is every Pokemon game for the Game Boy Advance. Unfortunately though, they're all broken. If I can fix them, they're worth almost $700. I bought most of these in a lot from Goodwill, and Goodwill said that they were either broken or untested, so some of these might actually work just fine, although given what I know about Goodwill, probably not. As a bonus, we have this Pokemon Diamond version for the Nintendo DS that a viewer sent in hoping I could fix. We'll get to that in a minute. Let's get started with these. So I'm gonna test and repair these in order of least expensive to most inexpensive. Pokemon Sapphire, it's worth about $90. And these are prices as of when I'm filming this in February of 2025. Here we go. Let's see if we can figure out what's wrong. All looks good so far. The internal battery has run dry. The game can be played. All right, well, that's an easy enough fix. Let's get this game out, get it apart, and get that battery replaced. The nice thing about these is they are super easy to get apart. We got one screw, comes out just like that, and then we slide this top cover down, there, just like that. Then it just pulls off. And then we have the game and the battery. So here we can see the battery. Let's see how many volts it has. Got our meter on DC voltage. I'll just put one probe on each pin. Wow, we have 0 volts in this battery. It really has run dry. 0.167. Okay, so now the question becomes, do I just solder in a new battery just like that? Or do I solder in a battery holder that a battery can go into that makes it replaceable, or more easily replaceable without soldering? I think for this one I'm gonna solder in the battery, and then one of the future ones we'll put in a battery holder, just so you can see how that's done. So first I'm gonna get this battery desoldered, and then we can solder in this one. I've got my soldering iron warmed up and my fume extractor on. I'm gonna put a bunch of flux on each of these pins. Now these are large pins, so I'm gonna use my large soldering iron. I do a lot of work with a small soldering pencil, but I'm gonna use my large iron for this, and I'm gonna remove the shell, get it out of the way. Place down a thicker soldering mat. There we go. And here we go. I'm gonna first heat up this pin right here. And then once it's warm, I'm gonna lift it from the board, just like that. Oh. And then I'll let the solder re-solidify. There we go. Now we'll just do the other side. Just like that. Now add a little more flux, and I'm gonna heat this solder point up right here just to make that flat again. Then we'll come in with the new one, place it right on top just like that, and I'll hold it down with my tweezers, and then solder it on here, and then over here. Okay, so that one's done. Let's get this fit back into the shell. I'm gonna clean these pins up a little bit, and then we'll turn this thing back on and see if that fixed it. I'm gonna see if Restore's Rob has time to clean them. Dude, seriously, again?
Oh, hey, Steve. Yeah, I'm getting work done right now. I'm actually brushing up on my best restoration practices while I row.
You know what? Never mind, I'll just clean it myself.
Is he gone? Awesome. I can actually get back to my game now. Yes, this Avalon rower supports a ton of streaming services with classes, challenges, competitions, virtual locations, but the real sauce is in the games. Most exercise machines require me to conjure up the motivation, but by implementing gaming psychology into this machine, I don't just need to exercise, I want to. Fishing, flying, racing, pirating, it's a ton of fun, but the best part is how it makes me feel getting back into the routine of exercising. So check out their website for everything they have to offer, including bikes and treadmills in case rowing isn't your thing. And be sure to use the code TronicsFix for an additional $50 off your purchase today. So check it out, friends, and look for Restore's Rob if you get in there. I've got to catch this shark. Steve can fix his own dumb game.
I'm just going to use some isopropyl alcohol on this cotton bud. Dry it off. Apply a little bit of deoxit. Don't need a lot. There we go. Rub that around a bit. I'm not actually even going to dry this off. Just going to leave it on here wet. That'll also help clean the pins on the console. Now we can get this thing put back together. And here we go. What? That's a problem. Didn't expect that one. All right, we'll get this game back apart and we gotta see what's going on with the game now. There's no way I just did that. Clearly, this says plus right here on the battery and I just soldered it to the minus sign. I don't even know what I'm doing. Okay, let's reverse this battery and get it soldered on correctly, huh? I really should just cut that out, you know, and don't show you guys that I just did that. But, I mean, that's the reality of what happened. Everybody does dumb stuff. Okay. There we go. Good there. Now we'll bend this part down. There we go. Now let's see if this game will work. All right. Is it gonna work with the battery soldered in correctly? Let's find out. And there we go. So it looks like Jamal has 8 hours, 49 minutes into this game, Pokedex 11, and 4 badges. So Pokemon Sapphire's fixed, 9 more to go. Let's take a look at Pokemon Ruby. Here we go with Pokemon Ruby. Let's plug it in and see what's going on with it. And we get no Nintendo logo on the screen. So let's open it up and see what's going on. And this little sticker on the back, it says bat. So, I mean, somebody thought it was the battery that was bad, but I don't think a bad battery will usually cause it to not display anything. Let's open it up and find out though. Yeah, that'll cause a problem. Wow. So the chips are just totally gone. What? Okay, that's never happened before. That is crazy. So there should be a chip here and a chip here, and they're just not there. Okay, well, we won't be fixing this one. Maybe we can use this board in something. I don't know if the board is good or not, but wow. That was a total fail. I can't believe that. That's crazy. Never seen that one before. Okay, let's move on to Pokemon Fire Red. Here we go. Nintendo logo, that's good. The 1M sub-circuit board is not installed. I have no idea what that means. But it's likely a problem just on the board. So let's take a look. No, more chips gone. Right there. Wow. Well, this sucks. Let's try Pokemon Leaf Green. And here we go. And we get no Nintendo logo. Okay. But will this one even have the chips installed? Or did somebody steal them? Hey, the chips are here, but this one is really messed up. In fact, it looks like maybe the board is even broken. It looks like we have a break right here. These chips, as far as I can tell, these chips, are all the solder pads removed? Let's get under a microscope and check this out. And unfortunately, it looks like I was right. Every single pad, except for maybe these 4 up here, every single pad on this side has been torn off. This board is cracked in half right here. Actually, it's got a crack here and a crack down here. So 2 cracks in half, if that's possible. A bunch of these pins, actually, it looks like that might be, that could be fixable. A bunch of these pins are torn off. Oh boy. Let's check the other side. Yeah, look at that. Just cracked almost all the way in half. Almost all the way over to here, but to about right there. Got a bunch of damage right there. Okay, the best thing to do here is gonna be to put this on a different board, but I'm not sure if we're gonna have a different board. So let's open up the other games and see what they look like. Pokemon Emerald is worth about $235 if we can fix it. You know, if it has all the chips in it. Is this case broken? Like, doesn't want to fit very well. Okay, well, we'll see, I guess. Nintendo logo, that's good news. Let's see if the save file is there. Okay, and it looks like it is. All right, so as far as I could tell, maybe the only thing wrong with this is just that it's so hard to put in and out of the console. And I think this is why. These edges just aren't in great condition. So I think what I'm gonna do is just take it apart and bend those in a little bit and see if we can get them so they work a little bit better. At least we have one that seems to have all the chips here. And I'm not sure if that is an authentic game or not, honestly. Yeah, there's just no way this is real. There's not a battery inside. I don't think for these games, I don't think they use blobs. This just is screaming fake to me. So we have another game cartridge that, I mean, whether it's fixable or not doesn't really matter because it's fake. So this lot of games is not turning out well. We've got 4 more to look at. Let's see, number 1, if they're real. Number 2, if they have all the chips, and then if we can fix them after those 2 things. Man, this lot has not turned out like I had hoped. Never bought this many fake games at one time before. Okay. So the first thing is that it initially does look real. That's good. Let's put it in a console and see if it plays. Here we go. And it definitely does not play. Okay, so the first thing I see is these pins are definitely dirty. So that's going to be the first easiest thing we can do is clean up those pins. And then once we get those cleaned up, we also might have to take a look at these pins right here and see if those are all soldered on. But let's get these cleaned first. So I'm going to come through with some isopropyl alcohol first and just clean off any loose gunk that's on here. And we'll let that dry. And I'll put a little deoxit on, just in a couple spots. And the part that some of you might not like, I'm going to use some magic eraser. Magic eraser is some amount abrasive, which is not good for longevity of the pins if you do this really hard or a lot. But it is great for getting gunk off of the pins. Just use it gently to clean off the pins, and then we'll test it and see if that's all it took to fix this. All right, and with those pins cleaned, let's give it a try. Yeah, there we go. We finally have one real game and one mostly pretty easy fix. Let's move on to the 3 unlabeled cartridges and see what we have and if we can fix them. All right, and here we go with the first unlabeled green cartridge. Let's see what we got. It is starting up, that's good news. Pokémon Emerald. I mean, that's great news. That's a $235 cartridge. The internal battery has run dry. The game can be played. Okay, cool. That's easy enough. Let's get this battery replaced. And unfortunately, it is the Emerald version, but there's no label on it, so clearly that's going to reduce the value, but it's still better than having something fake. Let's check this battery. This is the minus side. You can see the minus up there. Yeah, we have 0.18 volts. Okay, and we'll just double check this battery and make sure we have the polarity correct. So this tab is the minus tab, this is the plus tab. 3.3, okay. So this is the orientation that we need to install it onto this board. Well, let's not make the same mistake we did with Pokemon Sapphire. So here we go. I'm gonna put quite a bit of flux here. There we go. I'll get my fume extractor started up and we'll desolder the battery. Okay, and then we'll do the other side. We'll just work this up. All right. Okay, and that side is down, there we go. I'm actually gonna heat this side up again and push down on the whole thing so it's not kind of awkwardly on here like it was. All right, there we go. I'm gonna give this a little cleaning here real quick and then clean the pins while we're at it. There we go. And there we go. So this Pokemon Emerald is all fixed. Let's move on to this red cartridge and see which game that is and if we can fix it. All right, and we have a Nintendo logo. That's good. Fire red. So this is about a $135 game. That's great. And, oh, we got a pretty good save file here. 116 in the Pokedex. And I don't see any problems with this, but does that mean it's a fake? Let's open it up and make sure it's real. Looking at the outside of the cartridge, the Nintendo lettering looks pretty good. And it has no label, but the lettering for Game Boy Advance up there also looks pretty good. So far I'm hopeful. And to me, that looks pretty good. I'm pretty sure this is a real one. Nintendo logo looks good. The chips look good. I'm not sure about this chip. I think that's real though. This is the other fire red that has this chip stolen off of it, and it's got the same kind of chip over here. So all of that being said, this looks real to me. But if you have a different opinion, let me know down in the comments. Okay, so no problems on this fire red. Let's have a look at this last green cartridge. Let's check it out. Ooh, we got a scrambled logo. All right, let's get it apart, see if it's real, then we'll see if we can fix it. I mean, as far as I can tell it is, this is like a smaller chip. It doesn't go all the way to here, but I think that's okay. And the rest looks pretty good. In this one, the pins just look terrible. So I'm gonna give those a cleaning, see if that fixes it. And let's see if that did any good. Got the logo. Good so far. Internal battery has run dry. The great news is that it is another Emerald version, so let's fix that battery. So for this one, let's go ahead and install a replaceable battery. I don't know whether that affects the value on these, but since this is missing a label anyway, we don't really need to worry about that. I don't know what the price difference is on these with a label versus without a label, but I am confident that it will affect that. There we go, got it. All right, and with that off, we should be able, if my tweezers wouldn't stick to it, should be able to install this guy right here. So this side is gonna go down right here. And this side right here. There we go. Now I'm gonna clean up my mess. Now let's see if we can get our battery in here. And there we go. Now there should be plenty of room for the top plate to go on here. And there totally is. Okay, good. Well, let's see what happens when we try to play the game. And there we go. Whoa, we got a lot of time on this game. Is that 199 hours? I mean, that seems like a lot to me. I guess probably not a lot of time for a lot of you guys watching. So for this leaf green version, I'm actually gonna hold this. I'm sorry that I'm not going to repair this in this video, but unfortunately this board is just not repairable, at least not repairable by me. I'm not saying it can't be done, but I'm certainly not willing to put the time in to do what it'd take to repair this. So I'm gonna hold this. I'm pretty confident I'm gonna come across other games that have a good board but faulty chips or something like that I can put these into. So we'll set this aside for now. We have one more game to take a look at, and that is Pokémon Diamond for the Nintendo DS. So this was sent in by a viewer named Mike who said he's had this since he was a kid, but unfortunately his dog got a hold of it. You can see the bite marker right there. And now it comes up with an error when he tries to play it. So another bite mark right there. So the first thing I see on this though is that these pins are extremely dirty. So what we're gonna do first is clean the pins up, and we'll see if that gets it to work. And if not, then we'll have to take it apart and check it out on the inside. Yeah, so you can see how dirty these pins are. And there's also little bits of, I don't know, as far as I can tell, that's just some corrosion. So what I'm gonna do is clean these all up using my metal dental pick. Probably not the safest option, but it should get them clean. And then once I'm done with that, I'm going to clean them with some IPA, and then we'll put it in a DS and see if that's all it takes to fix this. Okay, that is looking way better. Gotta grab a DS and let's test this thing. Okay, here we go. Let's see if that did any good. Okay, it does show up, good. And, data could not be read, okay. So that means we need to take this game card apart. So this is gonna be difficult, and I never recommend doing this unless it's like the last resort, because these are basically sort of like plastic welded together. And so it's really difficult to get them apart, especially in a way that you can get them back together and have them still work and look decent. So I'm just going through with a pry tool and my fingernail, just trying to see if I can get this pried apart. I'm probably gonna have to use something like a screwdriver, unfortunately, because you have to break that seal in order to get these things apart. So I'm gonna use my metal dental pick and just start working on this. Now this takes a while. Oh, here we go, we're getting it. All right, so that's a good start. Just need to keep going around like that. And unfortunately, this is never gonna be, you know, it's never gonna be the same. But in order to have a chance at saving this, this is what we have to do. So, oh, here we go. Okay, we got a lot of good done there. That's getting it. Okay, we're looking good so far. Let's see if that's enough to get this cartridge out. Probably not, but, oh, maybe. Come on. Yeah, there we go. All right, got it. Now let's get under a microscope and take a look at this thing. All right, looking at this board, I don't see any problems at all. These pins are all, I mean, they're pretty clean. We can clean them up a little bit better, and they're definitely worn, but I don't think that's enough to cause the problem we're having. Looking up online, it looks like maybe this chip can cause that problem. And I actually do have another one of those chips on a faulty game cartridge. So what I'm gonna do is just place this one, remove it from this board, and place it onto this board. So let's get that done now. Now I do have to be super careful. These are really thin boards, so I have to be really careful about how much heat I put on them. So I'm heating up a large amount of the board and then just kind of focusing down on the chip periodically to hopefully get that solder to melt without it causing the board to delaminate or anything like that. There we go. Okay, there's that. Now we need to remove it from this one. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay, I'm actually gonna solder that on by hand the rest of the way. Okay, I'm gonna add some flux. Okay, now I'm just gonna clean this up and then we'll put it back into the shell and give it a test. With that chip replaced, what do we get? Okay, shows up still, good. And come on. Ah, no. The data could not be read. So that tells me that there's probably something else going on this board. Unfortunately, there's just no way for me to know what it is. It's actually probably not on the board. It's probably in one of those chips. And unfortunately, there's just no way I can fix that. So I'm sorry, Mike, but I was not able to fix your DS game. Let's take a look at the results and see if I lost or made money on this lot. I thought there was a pretty good chance of me making a little bit of money, but then a lot of these games were fake. Let's check it out and see how bad it is. So Pokemon Sapphire is $90. Leaf Green is $145. There was 2 of these. The second one was actually real and fixable. Pokemon Emerald, no label. Now, I found these for about $175 on eBay. Now, that does include the shipping price, but this one sold for $170 plus $5 shipping, and it looks like it sold for the full amount. So we're gonna go with $175, maybe only $170, but you know, I gotta make this look better. So 175, but we have 2 of those, so 175 times 2, and then we also do have a fire red, which is 135. So this really isn't looking as bad as I thought. When we add all of these up, that comes to a grand total of a $720 possible sale price. I paid $617, which means there's a profit of about $103. Now I did use some batteries and stuff like that. Those batteries are less than $1 each, so it's about $100 profit. A while back I made a video trying to fix a bunch of broken NES games, and I was pretty surprised by the outcome of that one. I'll leave a link for that video up on your screen now so you can come hang out with me over there and see how many of those I was able to fix and what the potential sales prices were. Thanks so much for watching today, and I hope you have a good one.